If you only have time to visit one art supply store in Tokyo, which one should it be? Hello lovely, my name is Badow and I'm an abstract artist from Berlin living in Seoul, South Korea. And this channel is all about painting, collecting art and living your best life. Today I will guide you through 3 art supply stores I discovered on my recent trip to Tokyo. My goal was to find the best art supply store in Tokyo in the shortest amount of time, even though I don't speak Japanese and I don't know the city or the subway system. I visited Sekaido, Itoya and Uematsu. Before I even set foot on the plane, I watched a bunch of YouTube videos and TikToks showing me the best 3, 5, 10 art supply stores in Tokyo and marked them on Google Maps. After that, I already narrowed it down to the 3 stores that looked promising and were located closely together so I could book my Airbnb nearby. Google Maps was the best thing to navigate the subway system and to find the best route on foot to get to the stores. But Google Translate was what I used most once I was inside the store. I had a travel SIM card to make the entire trip as easy as possible, and I highly recommend you get one before you fly. Or if you're a last-minute planner, get them at the vending machines at the airport, because once you're in the city, it's really hard to get one. When I was in the art supply store, I would take photos of the descriptions and plop it into Google Translate to figure out what I was looking at. If you do it this way, I also recommend you take a power bank with you. Your battery will go low really fast. Now, I went in with a list of things I couldn't get in Seoul, and I had left ample room in my luggage to bring those supplies back to South Korea with me. Little did I know this trip would take an unexpected turn. My first stop was Sekaido with 6 floors. Having the list I thought would help me prevent getting overwhelmed by the sheer amount of art supplies and being surrounded by signs I just simply could not read. Yet all of my careful planning went out the window. It was frustrating trying to find that one pen in a sea of hundreds. I went through all the different levels with a laser focus trying to be as efficient as possible instead of just simply taking it all in and enjoying it. And while a headache was forming because I hadn't found any of the items on my list after being a whole hour in the store, my eyes fell on the book section. There was this watercolor anime style cover that drew me in like a siren's song. Yes, I loved Sailor Moon growing up, but it had been years since I looked at mangas or stylized illustrations. I tried to be firm and just keep looking. But my gaze would come back to this book. I even went to a Starbucks down the street to rest my aching feet and regroup my thoughts, but the book wouldn't leave my mind. All the coffee break did was cement my want for that gorgeous illustration book created by Yukuring. So I went back to Sekaido and I splurged. I got the book and an amazing set of watercolors. Google translating the art supply section of the book bit by bit, I would go through the entire store and find the exact things pictured. And I even asked the wonderful staff for help, again with Google Translate, when I couldn't find a specific brush. I bought a lot of materials and paints that are not necessarily relevant to my normal painting process. I bought them because I want to explore new mediums and venture outside of my comfort zone. It was surprisingly hard to give myself permission to buy things just for play and just because I want them. But I grew braver with each purchase and my shopping basket grew heavier and heavier. The excitement I get from new art supplies is like a child on Christmas. I also went to Uematsu. It's a tiny art supply store compared to Sekaido. I found things I couldn't get at the bigger store, and it had a homey feeling and also this impressive wall of pigments. But ultimately, it felt very niche and more for local art students. The last stop was Itoya, with 12 floors of stationery heaven. Even though it was huge, the art supplies I was looking for only filled 1 floor, so unless you're also into stationery like stickers, fountain pens, journals, this will not be the best use of your time. I walked each of the stores for hours, and in the end I returned to Sekaido a total of 3 times. It's no surprise that this is the store I would recommend the most. Ultimately, I didn't end up buying what I was looking for, and yet I found a new passion instead, and I had a blast and guilt the entire time. The moment I got home from Japan, I sat on my studio floor for hours, testing and swatching all my precious new art supplies. Art felt like play again, like it did when I was little. This is what drew me to becoming an artist: the freedom, the giddiness of exploring new mediums and learning how they react. I allowed myself to follow my curiosity. Even though my art haul ended up being things I don't usually paint with, I can't wait to see how my new exploits inform my work on the big canvas. And learning new things is just really fun. Being on the steep bit of a learning curve is incredibly satisfying. Navigating a new bustling city like Tokyo, diving into watercolor, and possibly teaching myself illustration and pattern design gives my creativity a new outlet. I'm seriously considering designing my own fabrics to make summer dresses with watercolor just from this trip alone. If you like this video, you'll love my story about how I got into painting abstract art. That gives you a peek behind the scenes how I became a full-time artist. Let's make the world a more colorful place, one painting at a time. See you tomorrow.